Hello and welcome back to Shadow Phoenix Tarot. My name is Dory and I'm here with more pre-class learning. So moving into the minor arcana, we're going to look at the suit of wands, and this is for fire energy, corresponds to fire energy. We are going to do a brief overview of the entire suit, and it moves from ace up to 2 all the way to 10. So there's going to be 10 cards. This enumerates 1. And again, fire is going to be about passion, drive. It's more like life force, chi. If you're an American and say chi, it's like that life force. It's what gets the sap running in the trees. So this wand is, if you can see, there's a hand holding like a wooden club, a wand, or maybe a staff. Is definitely very phallic in the symbol, and the symbology of it, and it also is going to be in flower or in bloom or having leaves come off of it. It's growing, so it's an alive life force, and that's a really big part of the suit with that fire energy where it's bringing life. The ace, so a little bit about, I'm going to say start here, and I'll refer you back in the other suits back to this one because we'll do kind of like an overview of the pip cards in general. There's the structure. So this is like for people who learn tarot in a very structured left brain, sort of like logical way. You have the 4 elements, which we've been over pretty thoroughly. Most people are going to know. Swords, cups, pentacles, wands, and what did I miss out? Wands. So you're going to have the 4 suits, and that is a structured set system. It's a systematic way of looking at it, and then you're also going to have your numbers. So numerology comes into it, 1 through 10. And so all of the numerology associated with all of the number 1s is going to be relatively the same. And then when you combine that with the element of either fire, earth, water, air, or fire, earth, water, it will, it will also inform that card and how that numerology of the 1 is expressed. And then again, within the context of the overall read, unless you're doing a single card pool, then it's going to also interact with the way that the other cards are. So if you're a left brain person, then you can definitely come at it from that structure, which is personally how I did, because my intuition has grown and deepened using tarot. And this is one of the reasons why, is because I can be very, very left brain and very logical, very sword, air energy. And so it can be hard for me to just go flat into, the intuition of it. And so tarot is really great for people who want to use this structure to help support. And it's not false. It is structured with assigned card meanings to everyone. Some of the assigned card meanings, like swords, tend to be bad cards. I don't know why. I don't know why air has like such a bad rap. Cups tend to be very positive. Again, I don't know why that tends to be. And I have some personal gripe with that. And depending on how the card presents, again, I may interpret it differently. So, as you will see. So the other way is that you can practice intuitively if you're right-brained, you're emotive, if you're visual, if you get inspiration, if you feel things, if you're an empath and you feel things in your body, you have you're like clairvoyant, you have all the clairs where you're seeing, feeling, hearing. That will also come through with the tarot, and you can also read it that way. You do have a system of reading that does have a set system. So depending on how you're reading, like there may be a limit to how creative you can get. Like some cards just are never going to mean something, But again, within the context of the reading, it's... Hold on, I'm going to go see if I can turn... Thanks for holding. That was my work phone. I just turned that off. So again, you can use your intuition to use these cards. There is going to be a limit to what you can actually say this card means. So again, if you really like to work highly intuitively, an oracle deck may be a better fit for you, or if you're feeling like in that moment, like really drawn to a different card system like oracle, or even playing cards, a 52 deck poker, you can also do that too. So just so you kind of know, so that you can use either right or left brain as a way to access information. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, and go over kind of really brief just the general point of the card. And again, you're going to want to continue learning, and you're never going to learn everything about it, and you'll always have something new revealed to you, which is part of the fun of tarot. So the Ace of Wands is for new beginnings. This can wands can relate to work. It's less about a specific job and more about your overall vocation. So it can be career, it can be about making money, but it's more about how you bring your passion to work. So it does touch into that creative side. It's not so much about money, but it's more about, again, just like this overall life force, overall passion, overall expression, and that forward movement of acquisition, of taking action, completing tasks. And so the Ace of Wands, I want to say, is one of the, is it the Pentacles? One of the aces is also the pregnancy card, and I can't remember. If you look online, you'll find it. I want to say it's this one, possibly the Cups, too. I don't know. So this happens when you're, the ace with the imagery or the numerology of 1 is going to be the singularity, where something is existing, something is, which is really big if it's new and something new is happening, which also is what aces are, because it's the beginning of the 10 card number system from 1 to 10. So it indicates newness and maturity. It's very young. It's very fertile. It's like basically all of the aces are going to just be unhatched ideas at this time. They're just beginning to emerge. Yeah. Moving on to 2. This is when you're starting to make decisions and plan. Okay, he has the world in his hand. He is looking out onto the water, and so he's really thinking and planning how he wants this to come about. This is a card of preparation. These 2 cards together are big cards for people who manifest and are using like a law of attraction and they're manifesting. And this is very much like he's holding the world in his hand as kind of like his vision of where he wants to take it, his long-term goal, and then he's also at the beginning stages planning with that end goal in mind. He also has access to these resources. The globe indicates all of the resources at his disposal, because when you have fire energy, you can make anything happen. I always thought that was kind of a sad card. I don't know. He's like looking away. He's turned away, but he's looking out for things to come towards him. He's somewhat like almost a hermit card, where he's like being pensive. Okay, so now for the 3 of Wands. This is when you move into the number of 3, you start to have growth and expansion. Okay, so 2s are about duality and balance and decisions. 3 are about growth. So we're actually starting to have fruitfulness. We're actually starting to see growth and expansion occurring. Also, in general, even number cards are going to be about balance and very stable in general. Odd number cards are going to indicate expansion, also growth and change. A lot of people can have a difficult time with change, so sometimes the more like negative cards are going to be odd, but that also has to do a lot with your personality. I will also say that when you are looking at, say, even numbers for the air signs and the fire signs are stable because of the number, but the elements, the energies are active. So you have stability with an active element, which is positive. Generally, when you have the feminine, which is the water and the earth, and they're already very receptive, like quote unquote, like slow moving, it can tend to be a little stagnant. Again, there's not much happening when you have balance of something that's already inactive, so to speak, inert. and that's not the correct, correct way to think of it per se, but generally you're going to have a lot more positivity in your feminine signs when you have an odd number. Okay, so here we have 3 of Cups, which is a lot of happiness and rejoicing. 3 of Pentacles with his growth and expansion. Because they're receptive, when they are active, they are more dynamic. And then, again, as we move through the deck, you'll see those. So sorry, just to kind of put that in. It's part of the nuance of the entire tarot system. So anyways, here's the 2 of Wands and the 3 of Wands, which is where we left off. Okay, so he's really looking at things are starting to come to fruition. They're starting to grow. Still very immature energy, so it's still going to be a lot of work. Going to throw it in there. Might get myself in trouble, but when you have the fire energies, these are all going to relate to an Aries. Aries is the astrological sign for the fire element, which is cardinal. So anytime you're starting off things, your cardinal fire sign is going to be Aries. That's Ace, 2, and 3 of Wands. Okay, so anytime you're looking for like another deeper layer, I'm so sorry. You have a lot of dynamic systems that overlay with tarot. Astrology is one, numerology is one, Kabbalah is another, the elements. There's a ton that overlay with this. So you're going to be able to get a lot of information, again, as you learn to get information from your deck. 4 of Wands is about having a happy home. Again, stability is that key phrase here because of the 4. There's rejoicing. You can get this when people move in together or if there's a wedding. If you get a new roommate, this indicates a happy home. And again, it's a 4, so it's not super mature energy, but it's that new growth has led to a new stability and a new sense of balance. 5. 5 is the number for change. Can be some chaos there. Even the change of growth can be unsettling. It's disruptive, even if it's positive. If anybody's had a new baby or moved to a new place or started a new job, you understand that even positive change can be quite disruptive. This is some minor conflict. This is not a true fight to the death, but it is some conflict and sparring, just a general energy of unrest. Moving on to number 6, again, because we have an even number, now we have had a victory. We have a person riding in on a horse, wearing a laurel wreath. He's seated, and there is like another wreath on the pole, and this is a victory. This is also very much being seen, being recognized outward, shows of victory or success. And 4, 5, and 6 are going to be for the sign of Leo because it is fixed fire energy, and this is the heart of the Leo here. It's like being seen, the aggrandizement, and that meant in a really positive way. And then also this caring for people is also very much a Leo energy. Okay, and then we have 8. 8 is about movement. And again, it's balanced. So, and this is like the double 4. So this is super sturdy. This is also travel, messages. This could be email. This could be plane, train, car, boat, travel. And this is rapid. It's coming at you. I recently heard somebody on one of the channels I read said it was like fire hose energy, which it sure can be. I'm going to move this a little bit closer to me. Sorry that I'm messing with my thing here. I want you guys to be able to see the cards. And yeah, so there's no people in this scene, which is somewhat rare for the tarot. And it's really about the energy of that movement and moving forward and being focused to a destination. Again, it is stable. So now that we're moving through the 4, 5, 6, that's when you have a lot of like middle ground. Now we're starting to come over the hump where we're starting to have a more mature energy. It's going to be more refined. It's going to be heavier, denser. Processes are coming to an end. I skipped 7. Processes are coming to an end. And yeah. So anyway, so this is 8. I promise I can count, guys. So going back to 7. From 6 to 7. And we have a bit more conflict here. This is when you're like being on the defensive. Because you just had a recent victory, now you're having to defend it. You may be challenged. But if you look really closely, and this is one reason why I really like the Rider-Waite, this person is obviously much bigger than the surrounding area. So again, you have still a little bit of that Leo energy hanging on here where this person's larger than life, and because it makes them somewhat of a target, and they're more than able to defend themselves. Obviously, they have the upper hand. None of the other wands are reaching to them or attacking them, but they are a little bit of having to defend, maybe feeling a little bit attacked, but they do have the upper hand still. So this is still a victorious card overall. Alrighty, so we covered 8. And moving on to 9. So 9 of Wands is about somebody who has a little bit of a wounded warrior. They are still a little bit vigilant, but they are victorious. They have all of those staffs behind them. They're in front, keeping them safe. They have had the victory. They have maintained the victory. And now there's a sense of completion here for them. But they are a little bit beat up, so to speak. Fire energy, again, especially coming out of this fire hose energy of the 8, can be intense. This is going to be Sagittarian energy for the zodiac sign of Sagittarius, 7, 8, 9. This is mutable fire energy, and you're closing up processes. You're ending, you're finishing, you're transforming. And you only have, from a numerological standpoint, you only have really like 1 through 9. 0 is its own energy, but 1 through 9 really is as much as you can go, because when you get to 10, that is now a 10, A, 1 plus 0, and then B, it's also back to a 1. So you're really starting over again. So in numerology, there's a really delicate nuance between a 9 and a 10. So a 9 is when, let's say you're checking out at the grocery store and you're done with your shopping trip. 10 is when you've come home and you've put all the groceries away, and now you're ready to go on to do something else. And you've elevated, because of this 1 through 9 process, you've now elevated to the 10, which is back to starting, but because of the 0, you're starting over again at 1, but because of the 0 is an elevated. So whenever you have 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 in numerology, you have the energy of that first numeral, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, but then you also have that 0, which indicates that you've been leveled up. And again, this is more of a transition card in my mind, rather than like the strong energy of like a 1 through 9. So this technically is, I would say, a Sagittarius, but again, this also, you're going to go back into Aries. Again, this is a transition time. That 0 is really important when you're looking at numerology, and when you're reading for people, this indicates a completion. When you have 8s, 9s, 10s, 7, 8, 9, something's coming to a close. When you get 10s is when you start to see aces, when you start to see pages coming back. You're going to see the death card in the major arcana. You're going to see the Fool card. You're going to see the World card. You're going to see other evidence that they're turning the page. They're finished reading the book. Now they're closing the book, moving on. So there's some transitional energy here, wrapping up of loose ends, like finally completing. This card specifically is about having heavy responsibility. This person's pretty weighed down, but they're up to the task. This person is very strong. They can carry a lot of fire energy. They have grown, manifested, harvested, protected, and defended all of these wands, and now they are holding them. This person is extremely mature and strong person. And now they're ready to lay them down and close out that cycle of manifestation. And now it goes back to like a death energy, where they're going to be laying down, surrendering something so that something else new can be brought up, or it can be transformed into a new form. And sometimes when people are doing too much, if they're chronically like codependent or enabling, you'll get this. You'll get some other cards again along with it, depending on what comes with it. It's going to really heavily influence how this card is read. All right, so that is our wands, A's through 10, and yeah, I will have this be kind of like the beginner's one because I do talk a lot about some other stuff here. So thanks for joining in, and go out there and definitely keep learning about the cards individually. And you can wait until you're reading and just read the ones, because when they're in a spread, learning about what's in a spread is always so much more applicable to you as far as what you're learning and integrating than just going off and learning different cards. So I hope you enjoyed that introduction to the pip cards of the Minor Arcana for Wands.